something else. So that's why, unfortunately,
Mufti al-Hussein was a Jew hater. He went to Hitler multiple times.
was he a Jew hater?
Sheikh, you don't go meet Hitler because you like his book.
Can I say to you something?
Okay.
No. I condemn whatever happens against any.
Do you not agree, Sheikh?
Listen to me and listen to this. Did some Jews served in the Nazi army?
No.
Yes.
Sheikh, that's not true. Sheikh. That's not true. I'm going to say that. When I get it from people who are not respectable members, that's one thing. Sheikh, you're supposed to be an educated man.
I'm educated man. Listen.
Yeah.
Do you know there are some Jews who served Hitler? Unfortunately, this happened. It happened.
Yeah,
this is the history. And by the way,
not true.
those are the sellout from them. Yeah, but not necessarily. Those are sellout. You could say those are sellout from them, which is they did against their own people. Yeah, but that's not my issue here. I'm not here to discuss politics or whatever. I'm not here again. I'm not into politics. But my point is, if someone is against certain regime, like yourself, what I agree, what I respect from you, you said now, that you said you are not pro-Israel, correct?
Correct.
And you don't like what the Israel is. You said it's a apartheid state, correct?
Completely.
Yeah. Why did you say this?
Because it's true.
What did you see there when you went there?
What?
When you went there, what did you see?
It's not what I see, it's what I know.
What you know from a Jewish perspective, a practicing Jewish perspective.
See, it's not about Jewish. You see, you're wrong, Sheikh.
Listen,
it's about being a human being.
Oh, a human being. But I wanted, because everyone a human being, they say the same. But I wanted you, because as a Jew, I wanted you from your own perspective. What do you see there? And how did you say it's an apartheid state?
Some people have more rights than others. It's very simple.
That's all.
That makes it apartheid.
What about other things? What about,
What?
putting them squeezing them in a place, like, for example, is the most condensed place on earth, Gaza, for example.
That's not true, Sheikh. That's not true. I've seen the many times, but that's not true. I'm not saying it's not packed, but that's not true. It's not the most condensed place. Not only that, Bnei Brak is a town in Israel that's much more condensed than that. But I don't disagree. I'm not saying it's good conditions there. Like I said, I haven't.
But at least it's well served, correct? By Israeli
so
government.
What?
It is well served by Israeli government.
No, because it's very religious Jews, so they don't get along. Funny story. No, I'd like it to.
Why they don't get along? What's happening?
What, with the religious Jews?
Yeah.
Because Israel's not a Jewish state.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's not a Jewish state.
No.
So the one, for example, we get criticism when we say we're against Israeli state, we are against the Zionist state, because I don't like calling it Israeli state. Because actually they are hijacking the term Israel. Do you agree? Because Israel is an honorable name for Jacob. Yeah.
We don't use that name.
We use it as Muslims.
We don't. That's the point. We don't care what you call the state. Because Israel, we don't.
No, by the way, you are not called children of Israel?
What?
The children of Israel.
It's an English name.
What about children of Israel?
Yeah, but it's English. We don't care. Check. It's an English name. We don't.
You mean in Hebrew there is no Israel?
No, Bnei Yaakov, Bnei Yisrael.
Bnei Yaakov, okay, Bnei Israel.
Yeah, but we don't
Bnei Israel.
Yes, Bnei Yisrael.
So Bnei Israel, not Israel. By the way, not Israel.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's the same thing. But we don't care who uses the English version of it.
What about in Arabic they call it Israel?
Yes.
Do you accept that?
That we're called Israel?
Yeah, to call this Zionist country is Israel.
I don't care.
But you said it's an honorable name for Bnei Israel. Do you know what it means of this?
Does it bother you, Sheikh?
Yeah, it bothers me.
No, something else. Al-Wati. Do you know the Al-Watis, the Khans? I forgot them. They're from Pakistan originally. The Agna Khan.
What about him? I don't know.
Just because somebody calls himself Muslim doesn't make them Muslim, correct?
I understand. But as well, for us, and this is to rectify.
Does it bother you that Shias call themselves Muslim?
If they are extreme Shia, yes, it bothers me.
What? A regular Shia, they call themselves Muslim.
No, they're Muslim. Regular Shia, they're Muslim. So
you don't care. The same thing. I don't care what people.
If they don't believe in Shiism. My point is, going back to the issue, when people calling Israel about a state, about apartheid state, for us, we take Jacob, Yaqub alayhi salam, we consider him a prophet of God, an honorable prophet of God. So anyone who humiliate him or humiliate his name, just humiliate other prophet, because we don't distinguish between prophets. We respect them, we honor them, we respect all of them. So when you call an apartheid state, or when you call that state as Israel as the name, just like to call another apartheid state to call it Muhammadi. Will not accept this. You understand? So for us, respecting the name, it has a significance.
So for us, so that, I think that's a very fundamental point, which you mentioned. I mean this very respectfully, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but if it bothers you that much when somebody makes fun of your prophet, it's a question on your faith. My faith is strong enough that I don't care what other people say about it.
And the same thing for us. It's not just only, no, we care, because at the end of the day...
Why? Your faith is not... What a nobody...
Did you get my point? I think you didn't get my point.
I don't...
My point is, again, listen, it's not about just only... My faith, I know, is strong. But as well, we should defend our faith with everything that...
There's a difference between a fen...
One second. I'm just finishing. So if anyone humiliate any prophet or messenger of God, for us, that's a big thing for us. Yeah. We get angry. We don't like it. We don't accept it. You understand? So when you use that term to an apartheid state, so we don't accept this. That, for us as Muslims, it's up to you. I'm not saying
if a child calls you stupid, you get offended?
You didn't get my point.
If a child calls you stupid,
I don't care if what people talking about me. I'm no one. I'm not saying me.
Hello, Sheikh. If another sheikh calls you stupid, it bothers you more than if a child. Why? Because the child is a nothing. He's a nothing. So when somebody decides to hijack, a nothing hijacks my religion or my thing or makes fun of me, I don't care. You're a nothing.
No, you should.
Value.
Actually, I met some Jews who doesn't accept that term Israel to be called to this apartheid state. They don't accept this. But the interesting thing in you, which is you mentioned that you are not into, or you're not pro Israel, which is good. I'm not saying that, but that's something which is good. And what other thing? Do you think it represents the Jews?
No.
So it doesn't represent them?
No.
Why not?
They don't.
But they call it is the only Jewish state in the world.
Okay, and they can call it whatever I like. I don't care.
So you don't accept that they are not the only state of the Jews. لا إن شاء الله الله يا رب يهدي. But anyway,
I say good about
the good thing.
Don't worry.
The good thing, he said by the way, you said to him he's a Jew that he will not accept Islam. So?
Yeah, that's
correct.
Right.
No, I said no. Allah, he could.
Maybe. Do you want to be Muslim?
Don't worry about it. When the time.
Do you want to be Muslim?
Brother, that's not right. That's not a way of da'wah. But anyway, I wish you.
I have a different question for you.
Yes.
I see that a lot of Muslims, they get rightfully angry what's going on in Palestine.
Yeah.
But I don't see anyone complaining about what's going on to the Uyghurs or the Rohingya Muslims.
What do you think? We don't get angry. We get angry for any Muslim who's been harmed.
I don't know. The Sheikh is not criticizing it. I mean,
I'm saying we get angry. If we talk about the Uyghur, we get angry about what's happening to them. We get angry about what's happening to the Muslims and all around the world.
Nothing done about it.
What we can do?
What?
What do you want us to do?
There's 1.8 billion. There's 1.8 billion Muslims. You're really telling me you can't do anything about?
I will tell you.
Concentration camps in the Uyghurs?
I will tell you. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, he said to us 1400 years ago, he prophesied that this will happen. He said there will be a time that you Muslims, that the people will be attacking you like predators on a prey. Predators on a prey. You're going to be like prey and predators. All other faith, all other people, all other disbelievers, all other non-Muslim, they're going to attack you and start eating you alive. And then the companion asked him, "O Messenger of Allah, are we going to be little in numbers? Are we going to be little in numbers?" He said, "No, you're going to be in big numbers. But you're going to be like the foam of the sea. Foam of the sea. So when we are weak, when we are not stick to our faith, when we don't follow our guidance, the guidance of our faith, of course we are like the foam of the sea. What's happened to the foam of the sea? We say, it just go away. That's how it is. Even it's not water. Even it's not something solid. It's not even. It doesn't benefit nothing.
Yeah.
So that's the point. So our Prophet told us this will happen because we are.
Your clothing. Yeah. Where is it made?
Where is it made?
Yeah.
I think in Emirat.
What?
This is in Emirat.
The coat is where?
This coat?
Yeah. It's China.
No, not China. I don't know what's this. I don't know what it is.
They're committing genocide on your people. Worst thing since the Holocaust to what's going on with the Uyghurs. It's the worst thing in the world since the Holocaust.
Yeah, it's happening because at the end of the day, here, this is not me as a person who thinks. By the way, this is, I don't know where the quote.
My point is, Jeff, I mean this very respectfully.
But we don't have, by the way, we don't have these kind of things to say. For example, not every person who is doing something bad, not necessarily I have to boycott or whatever, or to stop, dealing with everyone there.
They're murdering your people, Chef.
Okay, so this is what the Zionists has done to our people as well. They have done the same
So
thing.
two things. First of all, they're doing a lot worse in China than the Zionists are doing.
Well, I don't know. It's subjective. You can't say it.
They are, number one.
No.
And number two, I've seen thousands of protests against the Zionists. I've never seen one against it.
Because as well, you need to put in your mind as well. Jerusalem is a big thing to the Muslims as well.
I understand Jerusalem's a place.
Yeah,
but
it's a place.
I understand, but they're murdering thousands of the members of the Ummah.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Hundreds of thousands of the Ummah in concentration camps.
Well, I agree with you. That's why here the Ummah has to stand and to try to.
Are you not in leadership of the Ummah? Are you not?
I try. I'm just only a man at the end of the day. I try my best, and that's good, by the way. And I respect what you mentioned. For me, we as Muslims, all of us, we have to support each other in order to stop what's happening, the oppression that happened to all Muslims, not just Muslims, by the way, and even anybody who's in oppression. We have to support them, regardless their faith. At the end of the day, that Allah says in the Quran, or Allah said in Hadith Qudsi, I prohibit it.
If the Ummah decided they wanted to stop it, they could stop all the oppression.
Yes, they can.
They're just choosing not to.
Yes.
You will.
Yes, basically.
It's something you should ask yourself.
Yeah, but because we are, again, that's why here, because we are not following our faith properly as people. And the faith, it has to, when you see, it's not just only the layer and the clothing and all, it's as well the faith, the belief, and as well and the act. That's what we are doing here. We try to spread the word of Islam. We try to remove misconception about Islam. We try to give da'wah to the Muslim, to stick to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. That's what we are trying to do. That's what we can do. But now here as well for you to read more about Islam. You said you are always open to read.
Always open.
And always be as well open-minded as well to accept the truth as well. Correct? Do you agree with that? I ask Allah to guide you again, David. It was we had a very beautiful discussions today.
Always a pleasure to speak to you.
And it's something, yeah?
He's always هو معتدل دائما.
Yeah, he is balanced. Yeah, he is balanced. And you are one of the balanced one. At least you have this. Okay. Anyway.
Stay safe, yeah.
Anyway, stay safe. Look after yourself, and hopefully we'll have maybe a few discussions in the future. All right. You see here, my brothers and sisters in Islam, Wallahi, he mentioned something profound, and I accept when there is something was said even by someone who is not a Muslim, that we have to accept this. That we as Muslims, we are not taking care of each other. That includes what's happening to our brothers and sisters, the Uyghur brothers and sisters, and what's happening to them. We should stand on their side, and this action should be done by all Muslim Ummah, including the Muslim leaders, the Muslim communities. They have to take certain action to help our brothers and sisters in the Uyghur, in East Turkestan. And as well other brothers and sisters who are suffering all around the world. Wallahi, it's something important. Yes, he said something. He said, yeah, the people, they do things against Israel, which is, he's not against it. But actually, brother Adnan, I wanted to tell you something. Come here. I want to tell you something. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I had a discussion just a minute ago.
It's on camera?
Yeah, it's on camera. I had a discussion just a minute ago with a Jew, yeah? And then he said to me something profound. Yeah, keep it. He said this, and that's something which, wallahi, we need to address it to the Muslims. He said to me, he is not pro-Israel. He's against, he said this apartheid state. He condemned all of this. He said there is something I noticed in the Muslim, that that I see a lot of people doing demonstration, doing protest against Zionists, against Israel, etc. He said you do all of these things all the time, but he said when it comes to Uyghur, when it comes to other Muslims who have been tortured, and he said what's happened to Uyghur is way worse than that happened to the Palestinian Palestine. Sure. And then I said because the Muslims, because the significance of Jerusalem in their eyes, that's why they will find them be more passionate about what's happening to the people of Palestine. But you know what he said? He said something what we need to understand. He said Jerusalem is a place, and you're talking about a human being, millions of human beings being tortured. and killed and persecuted and not just and changed their faith in Uyghur, and you are just only caring about the place in Jerusalem.
The hadith of the Prophet
Even
the Muslim's life is more dear than the Kaaba.
More dear than the Kaaba, let alone Jerusalem.
Yes.
And that's how when he said to me, I was silent. I was silent. He said, I'm not in favor of
There are
Israel.
Muslims campaigning for the rights of
He
Uyghurs.
said they do, but he said not as much
Because
as Palestine.
because it hasn't been as long.
No, he said, do you know what he said?
Yeah.
He said something profound. He said before the Holocaust, these things was happening. He said,
No,
He said-
the persecution is old. Yes, no
The
doubt.
persecution
but these concentration camps, the concentration camps are recent. The concentration camps. But Gaza has been a concentration camp for a very long time.
and as well,
Gaza-
Uyghur, what's happening in Uyghur.
So we
for-
condemn all concentration camps.
All the
We're
time.
saying whether Uyghurs, whether Chinese, whether Japanese, or anyone who goes into concentration camps, or anyone who makes concentration camps to put people in prisons against their wishes, innocent people, they are condemned.
By the way-
we the Muslims, we
Yeah.
are a people of justice. We condemn injustice against all people, all humans, not
Exactly,
only Muslims.
exactly.
So
No.
his complaint is actually not accurate because we do our policies to condemn.
Can I say
injustice.
something?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
When the Chinese government took over, and we know that they are what do you call it? Not socialist. What do you call it? Communist. Yeah. So they are communists. When the communist system, they oppressed Muslims throughout the time since they took over.
Yes.
Since they took over,
Yes.
they used to make them to eat pork.
No
they
doubt.
do all.
No
This
doubt.
is from the beginning. We're talking about for a period of time.
My father visited China. He met the Uyghur people. He saw them. They were okay. Yani they had their cuisine, their food, their halal food, their masajid, their beards. And, concentration camps are something recent. While in the case of Israel, they're not recent. Gaza is not a recent concentration camp.
No, it's not a recent, no.
Gaza is a concentration camp. This is where I understand where this person is coming from, but it's not entirely accurate. This is my
We
view.
as Muslims, my point is, we as Muslims, the same thing what happened, we have to understand the significance that happened to the Muslims, more important than the significance that happens to the places.
Yes, agreed.
Understand?
Agreed.
So the places, that's why
Agreed.
people because they are more passionate about
Yeah.
Al-Aqsa,
Yeah.
because it has significance in our heart, which
Yeah.
is true.
No, not necessarily.
But the point is,
Yeah.
more important than it
Yeah.
is the blood of the Muslim, regardless.
Yeah.
So we should do more actually to help our brothers and sisters who are.
Yeah.
And as well, this not just comes from us as he said you are leader of the community. He said you are, for example, here. Why did you talk about it? So we should talk about it actually more. We should do something, and as well, we should as well, even the leaders of the Muslims, they should address this matter. Yeah, the Muslims in general, the Muslim community, Muslim countries, they should address this matter.
Yeah.
For all Muslims, and any injustice that happens all around the world, that we Muslims, we should stand.
Yes.
Actually, to support
No,
those
yes,
who've been
absolutely.
oppressed.
This is what Allah has told us in the Quran, that we are the torchbearers of justice in the world.
Exactly.
Anywhere there is injustice against animals, against environment, against humans, against the planet.
That's true.
We have to stand with the oppressed. We have to stand against injustice. This is what the Quran tells us, and that's why people who love injustice, who are unjust, that's why they are against Muslims. They don't
Exactly.
like Muslims because they are unjust. Because Islam is the only power standing in the world today that gives hope to humanity. That gives hope, and that's why people are not happy. Some people are not happy about it.
And I mentioned the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said you are 1.8 billion Muslims on earth. You can't do nothing. You tell me you can't do nothing. I said to him, our Prophet ﷺ, he said 1400 years ago about this.
Yes.
He said
That we will
there's
be-
going to be a time you're going to be
Worthless.
like predators, like the praise for the predators. And then he said the Sahaba, this is O Messenger of Allah, are we going to be little in numbers? He said no, you're going to be a lot. You're going to be like the foam
But
of the
value,
water.
the value.
The foam of the
Yeah,
sea.
yeah.
He said, talk about the foam, you do, and then it just goes.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is.
Very unfortunate.
Because why?
Yeah.
Until we go back to our deen. If
Yeah.
we don't establish our deen in our heart, if we don't implement Islam to the best of our ability, if we don't, that's how, if we wanted to support them, it starts from us
Absolutely.
to practice Islam. And anyone who doesn't pray, this is a reminder
And
for my brothers and sisters.
I think, Sheikh, prayer is not the issue here.
No, I'm not
Muslims do pray,
No,
but it's about
what-
the mu'amalat.
What I'm saying,
People are-
and as well, before
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
start with the aqidah, they have to follow the aqidah of the
Yes.
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions firstly.
Yeah.
Start as well establishing the salah
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah.
Like how many Muslims that millions of Muslims who
Yeah.
doesn't do that.
Yeah.
The muamalat, the one who betray the commandments of Allah
Yeah.
by not fulfilling the commandments of Allah in muamalat, in dealing with each other.
Yeah.
Betraying each other. All of these things we have to understand it.
Absolutely.
And the consequence of this, if we are oppressing ourselves by not following the Quran and Sunnah and oppressing our brothers and or even non-Muslims with our dealing and oppressing them, don't think Allah will give us the success.
Absolutely.
We're gonna away from the success.
Yeah.
And that's why what happens to our brothers and sisters is as well as a consequence as well of our action. We have to ask Allah to guide us.
And justice requires that we correct our own people. When our own people do wrong, when Muslims do something wrong, when Muslims do actions that do not befit the character of a Muslim, then we condemn them, we criticize them, we correct them, and we put them right. We tell them we are not with you. Even though you are Muslims, if you're doing something wrong, we're not with you. We stand with justice. We
Exactly.
stand with justice. This is what we learn from our models. Our models. That story of that Christian man who was struck on the head in Egypt by the son of the governor. He comes to Umar. What does Umar do? Get lost, you're a Christian. You're not going to get justice. Who are you to come and complain about a Muslim?
He
Who are
didn't
you
say
to... But he gets the guy to come from Egypt to Medina. And then he gives the stick to this Christian man or Christian boy to strike him exactly how he struck you. There is justice in Islam. The Christians of Damascus, they came to Umar bin Abdul Aziz. They complained that our church has been taken away from us by force. The church of St. John in the city of Damascus, that stands as the Umayyad mosque today. These Christians, Walid bin Abdul Malik, one of the Umayyad caliphs, he took it by force. Because half the masjid or half the compound belonged to the Muslims for a masjid and the other half belonged to the Christians. The Christians, they lost it. And they came back to Umar. What did Umar bin Abdul Aziz say to them? Get lost. You have no right. The building belongs to us. It's a masjid now. No. He tells them, either we give you back this church. Firstly, he acknowledged what happened to you is wrong. We don't agree with it. He's a ruler. He's the most powerful man in the world.
At that time,
he only ruled for 2 years, but he's the most powerful man in the world at the time, militarily. He could tell them, go. But he tells them, what happened to you is wrong. So 2 options. Either you take this back and I'll give it to you, or you take all the churches of Ghouta. Ghouta is an area in Syria, very close to Damascus, and the Christians willingly accepted the deal. They said, this is an absolutely amazing deal, that against one church, we're getting so many churches, and they had all the churches of Ghouta given to them. So the point is, we admire people who did things like this.
Yes.
We are not a people of injustice. So long as we stand with justice, we will survive. If we become unjust and do injustice, if we become like the people who attack us, if we become like the people who are committing evil acts against us, then there is no difference between us and them.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And justice is a consequence as well, a consequence of faith in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and a consequence of following the commandments of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it's not a concept that we have it, in a hypothesis or something. It's a consequence of faith in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, following the path of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because he was the most just person Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he was alayhi salatu wasalam, you could imagine that in the battle of Badr, but when the Prophet was adjusting the rows, and then with his stick alayhi salatu wasalam, he was adjusting the rows, and he put his one of the Sahaba, his chest was exposed, and then he poked him. He said, go back in the row. He said, O Messenger of Allah,
You hurt me.
You hurt me, I need justice. Can you imagine? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then he said to him, he gave him the stick. Look, he gave him the stick.
No, actually, before he did that, the Sahaba were angry with
They're angry. What do you say this?
How can you say that to the Prophet?
To the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
The Prophet told
He
him,
said,
no.
He has said the truth. He gave him the stick. He said, do what I did to you. He said, O Messenger of Allah, you are wearing clothes, and I'm exposed. My chest is exposed. I need you to expose your chest in the same way. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then the Messenger of Allah, he exposed his chest to him. He said, do the same. And then the man started kissing the chest of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he said to him, why do you do this? He said, O Messenger of Allah, you know where we are going now? We are going to the battlefield, and I'm not sure if I'm going to come back from this battlefield or not. But I want the last thing from this dunya is my skin touching your skin, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he died in that battle. Radiallahu anhu warda. The point is
Check, you
the
continue.
justice. Allah barik fi. That's all inshallah. We'll be concluding here inshallah ta'ala. Allah barik fi. Jazakumullah khair. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers here.
Where are the brothers gone with the mics and the cameras?
Here, the mics, brothers. Those are your mics. Here. Here.
Have you got